our series, How to Plant Tomatoes from Seed to Fruit. And I'm going to show you how to transplant your seedlings into a larger pot. How do I know that these plants are ready to go to a bigger pot? You see that they have two pairs of true leaves. All those leaves here look like tomato leaves. Now, in terms of your mixture, this time we have 75% of compost and 25% of seed starter. We're going to need your plant. We're also going to need a bigger pot. So you originally planted your seedling into a pot that was about 3.5 inches. And we're going to transplant it in a much bigger pot, which is 5.5 by 5.5. So how to transplant? First of all, you need to make sure that your plant is very well watered. The soil has to be very wet. It's less traumatic for the plant if the soil is very, very wet during the transplant. You also need to make sure that the soil that you are going to use for the transplant is also very wet. It's okay if it's mud. At this point, it is important because now we are dealing with roots. So, the first thing that you need to do is put soil in your pot, the big pot. Don't put too much to start with, about half, this way. So it's muddy, it's okay. Then you are going to take the pot with your plant and you're going to grab it this way. The plant goes between your middle finger and your index. And then you turn around. You remove the pot and you see, because the soil is wet, it holds together. And then you are loosening it a little bit, and we are going to put it in the pot. We can put them pretty deep. I'm going to push them down a little bit and cover with that very wet soil. What we want this time is add more soil so that most of the stem is covered with soil. When soil touches the stem of a tomato, the stem grows roots. And the more roots we have, the stronger the tomato is going to be. So there you go. Push down a little bit, and that's it. So when you have transplanted all your plants, what to do with them? You have a few possibilities. You bring them back home, which I recommend, and you put them back in a sunny window or under a grow lamp. The other possibility, which doesn't exclude the first one, is that once in a while, maybe once a day, once every other day, you bring them out, but you bring them out only for an hour. And you don't leave them in the sun. Here they're in the sun because we're shooting, but they're not going to stay in the sun. I'm going to put them in the shade 1 hour maybe, and then I'll bring them back home. The environment is way too harsh for those plants to start. They've been pampered, they've been inside your house, and they were very comfortable. We cannot put them outside suddenly like that, so we try to get them acclimated. This has a name, it's called a hardening-off. So you're going to harden off your tomatoes. I just want to give you a few tips about what you need to do to prepare your bed. Not in great details. Well, you make sure that you have a good soil. Tomatoes need a good soil. Make sure you have your compost. But there is something else here which is very interesting. All these little sprouts that you see here are the sprouts of a plant. It's a perennial plant, so it's coming back. These are coming back from the roots, and this, I suspect, coming back from seeds. It's reseeded itself. And this is butterfly weed. I am a big advocate of mixing flowers and vegetable as long as the flowers attract pollinators. And you have to put your flowers before the tomatoes, because then the pollinators know that the flowers are here. They come in, and when your tomatoes are ready to bloom, your pollinators are already in your garden or on your balcony. So that is very important. As close as possible and as many as you can, put flowers that attracts pollinators in your garden next to your tomatoes. We have another plant here. It's not too late to plant this. It's called borage. So it's very good to attract pollinators, and it even repels a couple of pests. So borage, and it's a very pretty flower besides, and it is edible. Some people use it for tea. So that's it, we're done with part 3, and in a couple of weeks we are going to move on to part 4. Our next step is going to plant our young tomatoes into their final destination. So it can be your yard, it can be directly in the soil if you have good soil, it can be in a raised bed, or it can be also in a big pot. It depends on the kind of tomatoes that you have, but we have only cherry tomatoes, so they grow pretty well in a large pot. That's it for now, and see you next time.